Hello everyone, welcome to CivilPrep. I am Krishna Gupta and this is MentorQuest at the rate 500, which is an exclusive program for geography optional live answer writing, which is one of the initiative for the students who are appearing for Mains 2025 or Mains 2026. They can write answers and they can assess that what is their preparation levels and what is needed to be made more additions, value additions to make their preparation civil prep more better. Okay. So starting with the first question, the question is critically assess the role and impact of the behavioral approach in the development and evolution of human geography. Now, this is one of the question which is based on a PYQ, that is critically the significance of behavioral approach in the development of human geography, which was asked in 2024. Now, this is a second video for the series of the uh, perspectives in human geography. So we have already covered 4 questions before. You can look at the questions and you can pause the video here and you can write the answer. You can share the your answer in a PDF format in the Telegram group. The link for the Telegram group will be provided in the description. You can also write the answer and share it to me directly so we can discuss over it. Now, pause the video, write the answer, and then continue it. Now, looking at the answer here, we will be seeing that we have certain keywords here. That is number one, that is critical assessment. Number two, role and impact of behavioral approach in the development and evolution of human geography. Now, behavioral approach will be saying that it is one of the response. It is one of the response which was critical to the rise of quantitative revolution. Okay, this was seen during 1950s to 1970s. Now, after this, what will we seeing that there was a rise of critical revolution. And in this critical revolution, there were three important things. Number one, behavioral approach. Humanistic approach. Number three, that was radical approach. All these three parts we will be seeing that initially there was aerial differentiation, then there was next paradigm. The first paradigm was of aerial differentiation. Then there was paradigm of quantitative revolution. Then there was critical revolution, where we see the rise of behavioral approach, humanistic approach, and radical approach. Then in this development, okay, during this part, we'll be seeing that there were certain things which were ignored in the quantitative revolution. So what things here will be seeing that which were ignored? That is human aspect in geography. So this was the most important part, which was related to the behavior of human beings with respect to space, the human development of humanistic tendencies with respect to space, and the structure which is present and which is analyzed in the radical approach with respect to the space here. So therefore, it resulted into the overthrow of the quantitative revolution, and there was rise of behavioral approach here. So this is a background which we can understand with respect to behavioral approach. Now, when we look at the behavioral approach, it is majorly emphasizing on subjective perception, but this subjectivity, it is included with respect to the positivism. When we talk about positivism, it is the inclusion of scientific temper. Now, after this, there is decision making. Okay, then we have cognitive processes. Now, all these three factors, it defines the behavioral approach and how it enriched, how all these three things they enrich the understanding of the interaction of people with the environment. So this is one of the important aspects which we can add in the part of uh, in the introduction. Okay, so here this is basically the models are created here for the individual experiences and the diversity with respect to space. So when we look at the historical emergence, because the question is specifically asking for the role and impact of behavioral approach in development and evolution of human geography. So we need to see a certain historical factors also here. So number one theorist who come here, that is Wolpert. Okay, in 1964. So he gave a paper. The name of the paper is The Decision Process in Spatial Context. So here we'll be seeing that the Wolpert challenged the axiom. He challenged of economic person by demonstrating that the farmers choosing crop patterns were not optimizers, but rather than satisficers, not optimizers, but satisficers. So his famous insight that optimal practice are often unattainable due to imperfect information laid the groundwork for the incorporation of the decision making in the geographic models. Now, next is Kirk. Now, Kirk was among the first to articulate a behavioral perspective. Kirk introduced the term behavioral environment. He introduced the term behavioral environment to explain that the same geographical information might be perceived differently by individuals from varying socio-economic, cultural, and ethnic backgrounds. Okay, so here his works highlighted the human response to environment and are context dependent, which are context dependent. Okay, so here his work will be seeing that it challenges the one size fits all assumptions. One size fits all assumption, it was challenged here, which was basically seen in the quantitative revolution. So this was the important aspect we see here that was seen in the quantitative revolution challenged by Kidd. Now after Kick, we have Bolding. Now, Bolding, he has written a part here. He has given a paper, A Progress in Geography. Now, under this paper, Balding argued for moving beyond idealized models. Okay, moving beyond idealized models by emphasizing that mere statistical generalizations could not adequately capture the complexities of human environment interactions. The statistical generalizations could not capture the complexities of human environment interaction. Thus, he advocated for a more nuanced explanation of geographic phenomena, which paved the way for the behavioral approach, encouraging geographers to integrate psychological insights into their analysis. Now, after this, we have Kate, that is Robert Kate. Now, Robert Kate contributed to a critical perspective on human perceptions of environmental hazard. Now, under this, Kate most notably did a work on the floodplain management. Under this, we'll be seeing that he demonstrated that human behavior, especially under uncertainty, is guided by how individual subjectivity weights risk. Individual subjectivity. Okay. So here it weight risk. So thus by outlining a scheme based on the assumptions that men make choices on the basis of knowledge, Gates highlighted the pivotal role of perception in decision making. Now, after this, we have a very important theorist here, that is Gold. Gold advocated and advanced the notion that human behavior and the environment share a mutual interactive relationship. Humans and environment, they share a mutual interactive relationship. Now, his perspective that man shapes the environment and is turn shaped by it. This became very important here. It reinforced the behavioral approach commitment to understanding the feedback loops. Okay, as this is one of the part of positivism, and under this we can place it under the systems approach, which provided us the feedback loop, which became very important for the determination of human behavior with respect to environment and how the environment is changing and shaping the human beings again. So this was seen here with respect to the gold. Now, after gold, we'll be seeing here that okay. So these things here we'll be seeing that this became quite important for us to understand here, and we will see here that there was a concept of cognitive map, which was initially firstly given by Tolman, and later on this was used by Gold also. So this became one of the important part with respect to the study and understanding of behavioral geography here, which was majorly location based. Now, after this, we'll be seeing that we have what this behavioral approach had impact on human geography. Okay, so first thing we'll be seeing here that it enhances the model of realism. Now, reality is something which is different for different people. Okay, I will be saying that something is quite important for me, but the same thing will be not be that much important for another person. So this thing is quite subjective here. So to enhance this model, to understand the understanding of the reality of individual, this factor of reality which was developed here, it was changed by the behavioral approach. Thus, by incorporating the subjective factors, the approach improved the realism of geographic models. It recognized that individuals do not always act as a perfect rational agent. Just give me a second. So continuing here we'll be seeing that, but individuals make decision on the basis of incomplete information and personal biases. Okay, so here we can see that if you are given a certain choice that either you can go for civil services or either you can go for a job or an employment which is having a handsome salary around 70,000 or 1 lakh. So the first part, it will make your career, but there is no uh, assurity that you will become an IS, IPS or IFS. But in the second part, there will be a assurity that your life will become better. You will be earning money, okay, and you will be having a good standard of living. So here, if you are given this choice, so majority of the students, they will have a different perception. Their reality will be different with respect to the choices that they are making. So a number of students will be going for the civil services preparation, but a less number of people, they will be going for the job and the security part. So this is one thing which we see that, which is not a rational decision, but it is based on incomplete information and personal biases. Now second impact will be seen here, that is broadening the analytical scope. Now, under this, we'll be seeing that the integration of psychological process, such as those highlighted by Tolman's cognitive maps, okay, also by Gold, okay, which is also called as mental map. So here it has enriched the studies of spatial behavior, okay, spatial behavior in urban and environmental planning. Planning and management. Third impact will be seen with respect to policy and planning. Under this, we'll be seeing that the kids work on the flood management or flood plain management is guided more effective, and it is people centric, which have resulted into the development of people centric policies. So by understanding how individual perceive risk and uncertainty, the planners can define or design the interventions that better align with the community needs. Apart from this, we'll be also seeing that it has helped in bridging disciplinary boundaries. Under this, the approach has promoted the interdisciplinary research, including psychology, sociology, along with economics and politics. So this has made this discipline of human geography more comprehensive, okay, which is helping to analyze the human environment interactions. Now, if we look at the certain criticisms part here, okay, because the question has asked us to critically assess here. So here we are saying that this is looking at the negatives. Number one, there was generalization of issues. You will be seeing that the critics argued that while the approach excels in detailing individual decision making, its emphasis on subjectivity can hinder the development of generalized approach. Okay, it is hindered due to the factor of subjectivity. Now, the variability in the individual perceptions, which was noted by Kirk. This may result into the fragmented models that are difficult to integrate at higher levels of spatial analysis. So this was the first topic. Next is measurement challenges. Under this, the reliance on the quantitative aspects such as attitudes and perceptions introduces challenges in the reliability and reproducibility. Attitudes and perceptions. It challenges reliability and reproducibility. Where we see that the quantifying subjective experiences remains a complex task, and it lacks the standardized metrics, which has sometimes limited the perceptive power of the behavioral models. Then, number three, overemphasis on psychology. Now, because of the overemphasis on psychology, certain scholars contended that an excessive focus on individual behavior diverts attention from structural, economic, and political factors. Excessive focus on individual behavior diverts attention from structural, economic, and political factors. Okay, which is also significant in shaping the human environment interactions. This approach effectively captured the nonce of decision-making process, but it underplayed the broader systematic forces that influence the spatial organization. Thus, what we will see here that we will conclude here. The behavioral approach has played a pivotal role in the evolution of human geography. In the evolution of human geography. Though here we'll be seeing that certain traditional models which have humanized the perspective here. It has basically helped in the humanization of geography with various theories which we have seen already, Wolfert, Keek, Balding, Gates, Gold, okay, Tolman. So who have moved toward a richer and more nuanced understanding of how subjective perceptions and cognitive processes shape spatial behavior. But according to the criticisms, it is pertaining to the generalizability, measurement, and an overemphasis on the individual perception. Okay, this has resulted into the we can say the decline of paradigm, resulting into its merger with cultural geography. Okay, so this has resulted into the merger of this aspect into the cultural geography. So this was the fate of the behavioral approach in human geography. So here we can see how it has resulted into the evolution of the human geography by its various introduction of subjectivity in the human geography. Though it was guided by the positivism, okay, scientific tempo were included here in the study of the spatial science, but though subjective nature of people were more understood here. So guys, this was the first question of critically assess the role of impact of human approach or the behavioral approach in the development and evolution of human geography. Now, next question here we have discuss the role of welfare geography in making world more equitable. This is taken from the question the welfare phase of geography makes it an interdisciplinary subject. Elaborate. This question was asked in 2015. Now, a similar question is been formed in the welfare geography. So, guys, you can pause the video here, think over the question, think over the welfare geography, how it evolved, who are the theorists associated with welfare geography, then write the answer, share answer with me, and we will discuss about it. Okay, pause the video, think, write answer, then we'll discuss it. Okay, moving forward with the answer. This is majorly on the welfare geography. Now, when we talk about welfare geography, we have changes in paradigm with respect to the areal differentiation or regional approach. Then we have quantitative revolution. Then we have critical revolution, where we saw the rise of behavioral approach, radical approach, and humanistic approach. So under the behavioral approach, we'll be seeing that there were certain liberals were present here. Okay, certain liberals, basically not from behavioral but from the radical part. Under the radical part, we see that there were presence of two school of thoughts. One was the liberal school of thought, and second was the Marxist, or we can also call them as radicals. Now the issue here was the liberals, they had confidence over structure. Structure here, it is related with the economic structure, social structure, political structure, etc. So they had confidence over the structure, that is economic, social, political, and they believed that it is the responsibility of government, who is the foundation of the structure, to look after the welfare of people. Okay, for example, if a child is not getting education, so it is the responsibility of government to provide that child education. If people are hungry, they are not getting enough food, so it is responsibility of government to provide them food. If the people are unemployed, so it is the responsibility of government to provide employment to people. So these are certain aspects which liberals believed here. But under the same thought, there was radical. So radicalism, it did not have confidence over the structure, which were also economic, social, political. Thus, they believed that to make society more equitable, it is needed to overthrow the government, and by the overthrow of the government, the people will be able to have a more community based structure where the resources will be controlled by people, and this will result into the development, or we can say achievement of equity in society. So these are the two thoughts which we see that which came out of the radical thought. Okay, so later on what we see that the liberal approach, it evolved into the welfareism, and the Marxist, the people who had Marxist approach, they distanced themselves from the radicalism, and uh, they were called as the Marxist geographers, because the radical word, it was previously also associated with the radical approach in human geography. So they evolved into the Marxist approach later on. Okay, but they were also called as the radicals. Okay, because they did not had confidence over the government structure here. Now, let's. This is the background of the development of welfare geography. Now, as we move ahead, welfare geography is an approach that emphasizes understanding and addressing spatial inequalities. It emphasizes spatial inequalities, which tries to foster territorial justice and equitable resource distribution. So by focusing on the words of the Smith, we'll see here, by focusing on who gets what, where, and how. This become one of the basis of the welfare geography, which integrated socioeconomic, environmental, and cultural dimensions into the coherent analytical framework, thereby reinforcing geography's role as an interdisciplinary subject aimed at improving the human welfare. Now, when we look at the contribution of key theorists here, okay, so here it is asking discuss the role of welfare geography in making world more equitable. So here we'll be looking at how the world is made more equitable. So emphasizing here the works of David M. Smith. He is regarded as the pioneer of welfare approach in geography. Smith stressed that the core of geographical inquiry should be the welfare of individuals. Okay, it should be the welfare of individuals. He has introduced in his work also this analytical framework to map spatial disparities. And this mapping he specifically done in the region of United Kingdom. He was from the Anglo-American school. Okay, so he has done his work mapping the spatial inequalities in the United Kingdom. Then next we have Pareto. So Pareto, if we'll see that he has drawn his optimality model. Okay, Pareto has provided insights into how income and resource distribution. How income and resource distribution it can be measured and optimized. So thereby contributing theoretical tools which will help in the assessment of spatial inequality. Now, next we have Amartya Sen. So Amartya Sen, he is also renowned for his capabilities approach, which is regarded as welfare economics. So Sen works expanded the discourse on the development by emphasizing that true welfare involves not just income, but the freedom to achieve well-being. True welfare involves not just income, but the freedom to achieve well-being. Well-being will be seen that it is associated with the quality of life and standard of life. Okay, so this is an important part which was provided by Amrita Sen. So Amrita Sen is also associated with the human development, okay, human development index. Now, when we look at the interdisciplinary nature and its role in the equity, so here we'll be seeing that the welfare geography. The welfare geography synthesizes insights from economics, political science, sociology, and environmental studies. Economics, polity, society, and environment. So this provides us an area which is interlinked with the part of welfare geography or welfare approach also we can write here. So the identification of spatial pattern of injustice and discrimination is done. The development of indicators that measures access to resource across different regions is also done here. Spatial pattern of injustice and discrimination. Then next part here we have development of indicators that measure access to resource across various regions. Measure access to resource across various regions. Then number three, the formulation of public policies. Okay, which is targeting unequal distribution of service and amenities. Unequal distribution of services and amenities. Then a focus on both macro level and micro level strategies. Macro level, that is national, and micro level, that is community based. Okay, to improve the residents' quality of life. Okay, here we can also see a case study of Delhi's informal settlement. Now, Delhi is one of the cities or urban areas that have multiple nucleus model or multiple nucleus settlement, where there is presence of multiple areas where there is presence of informal settlements. So one of the settlement, it is present in Sultanpuri, present in northwest Delhi. So here we'll be seeing that the application of welfare geography methodologies, which is guided by Smith, revealed severe inadequacies in basic infrastructure. For example, with respect to housing, sanitation, health, education. Thus, geographic analysis showed that the densely populated informal settlements, characterized by poor ventilation, lack of green spaces, and insufficient public services, experience pronounced spatial deprivation. So, based on these findings, the local authorities, in collaboration with the community, organized, implemented target welfare interventions, which included upgrading housing and sanitation facilities, creating green spaces, reduce urban heat, improve access to healthcare and educational services. Various community centers were created with respect to, we can see the community-based toilets. Then there were uh, the Aam Aadmi Clinic. Okay, they were also being formed, which have helped people in improving living conditions. Also redistributed resources more equitably among the community, thus demonstrating the practical significance of welfare geography in addressing inequality. So this year we'll be seeing that when we conclude here, welfare geography plays a very crucial role in making the world more equitable by identifying, analyzing, and addressing spatial disparities. It plays a very crucial role in making world more equitable by identifying disparities with respect to the space and resources or resource distribution, which is impacting the quality of life in terms of geographical space. Thus, applying the welfare geographical principles, it will result into the tangible improvements, helping in urban planning, policy making, helping to achieve just and equitable society. Okay, so this is a question which is based on the welfare approach or the welfare geography in making world more equitable. So guys, you can take an idea, you can take a, we can say context that how this question can be very useful how this answer can be very useful in understanding the development of welfare geography and the various aspects of welfare geography. Now, moving to the next question. Now, the question is, evaluate the contribution that geographers have made in shaping and advancing the field of radical geography. This is a question. Now, if we look at the PYQ, we have discussed the contribution of geographers in the development of radical geography. So it is a similar kind of question. So you can take a note here. So we can directly write this PYQ also discuss the contribution of geographers in the development of radical geography. Just pause the video and try to write an answer. Try to see that who are the theorists, what are the models in a radical geography, which is making it quite unique. Okay, so just pause the video and write the answer. Now, we'll start writing the answer. Now, here we are looking at discuss the contributions of geographers in the development of radical geography, or evaluate the contributions that geographers have made in shaping and advancing the field of radical geography. So it is a similar kind of question. So as we have seen in the previous aspect here, when we were understanding the welfareism. So under the welfare part, we have seen that there was radical geography. So radical came out as one of the part of critical revolution. So we can just take this aspect from here. Then there was division into liberals and Marxists. Okay. So Marxists, they distance themselves from the radicalist. Okay. And here there was a thing which was quite important to understand. So this is one of the basic thing. Okay, this is the background framework that there are radicals, and under the radical approach, there is a radical geographers. Okay, so we need to see that both these geographers they are present here. Okay, the radical, which is consisting of the liberal and the Marxist, and the Marxist, which is an outcome who were called as radicals. Now they distance themselves from radicals, and they are different aspect here. Okay, so this is the background. So we can refer to the previous video for background. Our previous question. that is development of radical approach. Approach or geography. Now, when we look at the radical geography, they have basically highlighted certain critical responses with respect to the issues which were not highlighted by quantitative revolution. So here they were: number one, issue of power, issue of inequality, and number three, issue of capitalist production of space. Okay, if we try to see what is the approach behind them. So power is basically related to political structure, inequality is related to social structure, and capitalist production space, it is related to economic structure. So when we look at this part here, the geographers, they had significantly shaped and advanced the field through the innovative theories, which will be looking further. So this is one of the bases where the radical geographers, they parted away from the liberals and they came out from the critical revolution. So here we have the first key theorist, that is David Harvey. Now, Harvey, he has given a seminal work, that is Social Justice and the City. Okay, Social Justice and the City, which critiques the neoliberal urbanization. And gentrification. Gentrification means, for example, you might have went to certain regions in a city, so you will find that there are gated societies are present. Okay, so there are individual buildings and there are certain gates are formed so that no one should enter the region, or no one should, the outsider should not come to the region. Okay, so this is one part where we see that, which is a gentrification, and this is a structure, this is a structure which is formed in the urban space, which is perpetuating the inequity in society. Okay, so what he said that he provided a framework for understanding the role of capitalism in spatial restructuring and social injustice. He provided a framework for role of capitalism in spatial restructuring and social injustice. Now, number two, here we have another important theorist, that is Peter Pete. Okay, Peter Pete, he utilized Marxist theory He utilized the Marxist theory to reveal that the urban renewal projects and infrastructure investments and infrastructure investments, they favor capital accumulation over social welfare. For example, if there is a contract which is provided by government, so it is seen in the contemporary time that the contracts are being going to a few people who are capitalist in nature rather than the contracts going to the people who are new or who are having low experience while working. And if the people also have experience, so the people who are more close to the government, so they are getting contracts with respect to those particular part here. So this we see that he eliminated the link between the socio-economic disparities and the transformation of urban landscape. Now the third geographer here we have, that is Doreen Massey. Doreen Massey pioneered the idea of relational space. So under this arguing for the space is not static but continuously produced through social interaction and power relations. But is continuously produced through social interactions and power relations. Okay, so here we'll be seeing that it influenced the shift towards the understanding diversity and inclusivity in spatial analysis. Okay, so this is one important part which is provided by Messi. Now, after Messi, we have Soya or Edward Soya. Is SOJA it is, but it is pronounced as SOYA, Soya. Now, here Soya has provided the concept of third space. Now, under this concept, which integrates lived experience with material and formal layouts. Lived experiences with material and formal layouts, which challenges the traditional spaces binaries. Now, under it, he expanded the analytical scope of geography to encompass both qualitative and quantitative perspectives. including of both qualitative and quantitative perspectives. Okay, so these are certain geographers which have highlighted the issue of structure in a system. Now, looking at one of the case study, which is of urban transformation in New York City. Now, here we'll be seeing that there is a urban neighborhood like Harlem. Okay, understanding this part here. For example, if this is New York City, so here we'll be seeing that there are certain neighborhoods like Harlem and Brooklyn, which have undergone significant gentrification. Okay, and here the people are not allowed from outside to move in here. The capital flow in this region, it is quite high. Okay, and the historical communities, they are also identified here, resulting into the commodified spatial forms. Okay, so here we'll be seeing that Harvey, he has exposed capital flows and state policies, which drive displacement and spatial segregation. Apart from this, Massey and Soya, they have provided a framework which help capture the tensions between historical community identities and new commodified spatial forms, which have developed in the contemporary time. So there is basically issue between the people who are living in those regions since the historical times and the people who are coming into the region who have more capital flow and which is resulting into the spatial displacement and rising in inequality. So here we'll be seeing that the outcome is how the radical geography is providing a toolkit for critiquing the urban policy and promoting the social justice in the region there. Okay, now we'll be looking at the conclusion now. So conclusion here it highlights as though the contribution of theorists, okay, which we have seen above, okay, they are uh, helping to study the transformed space into a critique of social inequalities and guiding the reforms of urban policies to foster more equitable society. Okay, so thus we can see in this answer here that how the development of radical geography has taken place and how the contributions of geographers has made in shaping and advancing the field of radical geography and how it is helping to overcome the issues of society of inequality and injustice from the radical approach perspective. Okay, now moving to the next question. So next question is quite important question, which is based on sense of place. So the question is, summarize the concept related to sense of place as developed by Yefortuan and Ralph in humanistic geography during the 1970s. So a similar kind of question was asked in PYQ in 2018. Provide a brief outline of ideas related to sense of place as propounded by Yefortuan and Ralph in humanistic geography that emerged in the 1970s. Okay, so pause the video, write the answer, then we'll discuss this answer again. Now, let's start writing the answer. Now, this is one of a question which is based on humanistic geography. Okay, now going to the previous diagram again. Here we'll be seeing that we have areal differentiation, quantitative revolution, and critical revolution. So since 1950s, there was development of quantitative revolution, and during 1970s, the QR declined, and there was development of critical revolution. So under the critical revolution, there was behavioral approach, radical approach, and humanistic approach. Now, this humanistic approach, it was quite important from the human feelings. Okay, what humans feel. Okay, it was more with this from the perspective of feelings in terms of emotions and senses of human beings, and how these emotions and senses they are associated with the geographical space. Now, when we look at the emotions and senses, this is a very subjective matter. But the geographers identified that the people who are belonging to a certain place, they have certain attachment to that place. So because of this attachment, we see that there came the concept of sense of place, which was initially given by Yifu Tuan. He is also considered as the pioneer in or the father of humanistic geography. So in this way, we see that there was development of the humanistic geography, and there was a development of concept of sense of place here. Now, moving forward, the concept of sense of place in humanistic geography was profoundly developed by Yifutuan and Ralph simultaneously. But the scholars emphasize the transformation of mere physical space into a place. So here there was a transformation of scene from physical space to a place. Now, if I will talk about a physical space, for example, if a temple is located in a certain region or a certain address, so if I will say that yes, we need to go in that particular region, so that is a just a physical space where we are going. But if I will tell you that we need to go to a temple, so temple is having one of the sense of sacredness. Okay, it has uh, a sense of sacredness. If I will ask you to go to a library or go to your library, so this will have a sense of education. If I will ask you to go to a restaurant, so there will be feeling of certain kind of food which is quite famous there. Okay, so this gives us a sense that a particular emotion is attached to certain spaces, so which have been identified by Yufutuan and Ralph here. So let's dive into this part, that what is the thought of Yufutuan and thought of Edward Ralph on sense of place. Number one, will be saying that he has given a distinction between a space and a place. So he distinguished here with an abstract quantifiable field from space, we can which is imbued with human experience. and meaning. Okay, there was also a factor of emotional attachment. Here we'll be seeing that a sense of place arises from intimate personal experiences. And memories tied to a location. Most of you might be having certain good memories and bad memories with respect to various places. For example, relatives' house, there are certain good memories with respect to certain relatives and bad memories with respect to certain relatives. So, if we will ask you to go to visit a relative, so there are more than 95% of chance that you will go to the place where you have good memories. And despite you have certain urgent work at a place of the relative where you have bad memories, you will try to avoid to go to that place or location because you have certain emotional attachment, you have certain memory with that particular location or particular place. So this is also tied here with respect to the geographical location. Number three, here we'll be seeing that there is a dynamic interaction. Under dynamic interaction, Tuan emphasizes the fluid relationship. Okay, he emphasized the fluid relationship between individuals and their environment. Okay, where attachment and the desire for escape. It coexists. So this is an important factor here. Now this attachment and desire for escape, as it is coexisting, it continuously reshapes the meaning of a place. For example, at a certain place, you feel that you should go and you should stay there. Okay, for example, for the preparation of UPSC part, most of the students, most of you, you are coming to Delhi, Hyderabad, then Pune, Mumbai, then Bangalore. Okay, certain students in Northeast India, okay, they are also getting displaced. So there is a initial feeling that you have to make a very distinct contribution and a distinct way of preparation so that you will just clear the exam in the first attempt. Okay, but what we will see here, there is just a selection ratio of less than 0.01%. So majority of the students, they do not do not clear the exam. So after 1 year or 1.5 year, you are willing to live in that place, but there is a sense which is desiring you to escape from that particular location because there is a different food, there is a different complete environment. It is a tensed environment actually because you have to give uh, 14 hours, 16 hours in a day for your preparation. So you will try to escape from that location, but how far you can escape from that part? So you need to look at this aspect. So therefore, we'll be seeing that after a certain period of time, the emotions, the attachment to that place, it will change. And you will be living there, but you will be having a sense of escape from that particular place also. So this is provided in the part of dynamic interaction. Now, moving to the thoughts of Edward Ralph. So Ralph has given a concept of place and placelessness. So under this concept, he introduced the concept of placelessness to describe environment that have lost their distinct identity. Okay, they have lost their distinct identity due to modern homogenizing forces. Now, this is one of the example which is given by the placelessness. Now, for example, you are going to a restaurant which was a favorite of you when you were children. But at the time when you matured, okay, contemporary time you are matured now. So if you go to the same restaurant and if you find that the food is not as good which you used to feel, so it will give you a sense of placelessness. So here comes the concept of placelessness, which is defined by Ralph. Second thing he also defined with respect to authenticity and identity. Ralph stressed that a genuine sense of place, okay, a genuine sense of place provides a cornerstone for personal and communal identity. Okay, personal and communal identity due to which is offering a stability in rapidly changing world. For example, here we can see that the authenticity and identity. For example, if you have a sense for certain temple or library or school or college, so here it will be offering a certain personal part here. For example, during a school you have your group, you have your friends, so there was a personal identity that you are a student and a communal identity that you were part of a tribe or a part of a group. When you are in a college, so here you became a graduate, okay, so your personal identity is a graduate and you are part of the part of the communal identity. For example, if you're employed in an IT industry, so your personal identity is you're a software engineer or a software consultant, and your communal identity is you are in a group of software engineers, okay. So here we see that there is a personal identity and communal identity, which gives you a part of authenticity and identity here. Now, third part which was emphasized, or third thought which was emphasized by Edward Ralph, that was cultural and social continuity. So under this, Ralph has argued that the erosion of distinctive places, okay, erosion of distinctive places, it results into fragmentation of cultural memory and a loss of social continuity. For example, if you have certain uh, empty space nearby your house or a community where you have certain festivals, like there is a gathering during the festival used to take place, like Holi, Diwali, then Dashera, then we have Pongal, okay, uh, we have Lahori, okay. So we have various kind of festivals which are providing us a gathering time, okay. So here you used to come, you used to meet new people, used to enjoy that time. But if that particular empty space is now it is taken up by a certain project, okay, certain we can say certain development has taken place there, certain infrastructure has developed. So what will happen, whatever your memories are there with respect to the cultural identity, they will start to erode. And the people who used to assemble in that particular area or region or location, they will not assemble again there. So this will result into the fragmentation of cultural memory and also a loss of the social continuity. So this was also provided by Ralph here. Now, this was a part which was quite important. Now, summarizing or making conclusion, the Ralph and Tuan thoughts together highlighted that a sense of place is an integral factor of identity, memory, emotions, attachments of individuals with respect to a physical space. Thus, it is helping us to understand, it is helping us to understand how people perceive their place and space. Okay, so this is an answer we can write here. Okay, this is a conclusion for the question, which we can see. Summarize the concepts related to sense of place as developed by Ufotuan and Ralph in humanistic geography during the 1970s. So this is one of the question. Okay, these questions, they will help you to understand. So we can see here in this part, we have seen a question on behavioral approach. We have seen a question on welfare geography, a question on humanistic geography, a radical geography, and a humanistic geography. So guys, try to write the answer. Do send me the answer. If you have any doubts, you can put it in the comment box, or my phone number is also provided. You can call on the number and you can have a discussion with me. So guys, thank you very much. See you in the next session. All the best.